Going live. Johnny Five is alive once again. Hello, everybody. Thank you for stopping in on Tully Television. Um, Sorry I've been away for a few weeks. Just been dealing with some personal issues that required my full time attention, so to speak. It's still Christmas time, as you can tell over my this shoulder here, my left shoulder, maybe right to you, I'm not sure. Uh, Happy holidays to everybody, whatever it is you celebrate or don't celebrate. If you celebrate no holidays, I just hope that it's a great day and, you know, making the best of it, like we're all trying to do. But usually, this is around the time where we try to be a little bit nicer, try to be a little bit more understanding, empathetic, sympathetic, all that beautiful stuff. I want to thank you all for sticking by Tully Television this year, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. We are currently sitting on 49 subscribers. Let's try to get to 50 by the end of the year, guys. We only got a week left. I want to thank everybody for the growth of Tully Television. It was not done alone. It was done with fantastic staff behind me, fantastic supporting system around me, great viewers like you, great subscribers, followers. Even if you're not technically subscribed, there's still always time. And if you don't like the content, hey, no worries about it. But just hit that red subscribe bar down below if it's still red. Hit all on that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Tully Television. And yeah, today I'm going to be talking a lot about um, just a bunch of different things um, on YouTube. Check it out. Going to be talking about Hawkeye. Going to be talking Spider Man. Going to be talking a bunch of stuff. Well, maybe a bunch of stuff in relating to those two topics right offhand. And I'm going to talk about my personal favorite Christmas story or movie that I have. Um, I'm going to tell you about some of my favorite Christmas gifts I had gotten over the years. Uh, Tell me down below what are some of the favorite Christmas gifts you have gotten over the years, and what are some of the ones that you secretly didn't like? Um, yeah, man, Spider Man. I'm gonna start off Spider Man. Okay, today, Spider Man made my birthday weekend last week very, very happy. Um, oh my God, it just was a phenomenal. Um, just a phenomenal movie. I will be talking spoilers here. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be. I just want to post this on my Facebook here that I'm streaming as well, so we don't. So we can kind of get some people in on this. Um, yeah, the Spider-Man movie Far From Home was everything I was hoping that it would be. Again, again, I'm going to be talking spoilers here. So if you don't want to know what happened in Far From Home, uh, I'm just going to suggest to you to watch this stream at a later time because I don't want to ruin the movie for you. And I'm also going to be talking spoilers as far as Hawkeye is concerned as well. That was the series season finale. I have done Hawkeye episodes um, and such. my editor, Smokey Bishop, has been very busy as of late. I was able to just barely get a hold of him to be able to do this Spider-Man video with him. I kind of figured out how to do the video um, calls and stuff and record that to make a video that way with people that can't necessarily make it by me or for me to go to their house. I just have to figure out how, when I'm recording, I can have both of our faces on the screen. It's a learning process still for me. I know it may seem like I've been doing this for a little while now, that I should know everything. I don't know everything. I'm still trying to work with the equipment I have. I'm trying to learn. I got a lot of things going on that maybe most YouTubers don't have in their everyday life going on. I have a son that's on the spectrum, so some days are dedicated to that. Um, I do a lot of the quote unquote heavy lifting around the house, so there's days I really have to concentrate on those things, help the missus with certain things, help the little guy with certain things, and then sometimes my own personal mental health needs a break. Um, yeah, but this last few weeks has been just uh, been tough, but I'm glad that things have been slowing down near the end of the year. Um, just dealing with a lot of emotional things and what have you in our lives. I get a little nostalgic around this time. Uh, I miss, you know, people who have gone. My grandmother, my mother. Um, yeah, it just comes with the territory. But I'm very grateful for everything I've accumulated in my life. I've learned a lot of lessons. Um, Made a lot of mistakes. Uh, Only through failure do we learn to succeed. But yeah, I'm kind of like I said, I'm glad I'm back. Uh, I'm glad I had a great birthday weekend last weekend. Spider-Man No Way Home. I had a wonderful meal with the wife and little guy. Had a great birthday cake. Uh, we had like a kind of like an ice cream cake, um, which I don't really consider an ice cream cake because I grew up with ice cream cake with it being ice cream and cake. Uh, this was just kind of like an ice cream. Uh, I don't know what you call it. I guess it's still considered an ice cream cake. Um, but yeah, great ice cream cake, great dinner. Um, the missus stayed home to catch up on some rest, but me and the little guy and my friend Berto came and we checked out Spider Man. And holy moly, man, holy moly, was that a great movie? There are probably some plot holes and some questions that can be visited on for sure. Not There's always going to be one little thing here and there for everybody with the movies. Um, but I'm going to get into it. I also want to get into how I had posted something recently on my Facebook page, and I left my Facebook page and my editor's Facebook page links down below in the description box. If you want to follow me on the gram, that link to that is down. And we have a Spider Man inspired shirt that we have on our merch store on Bonfire. If you want to check that out too, all the purchases, all the proceeds go back into the channel to get better equipment and what have you. Um, yeah, so some things I posted a thing on Facebook the other day about how Marvel has really just been killing it for the most part with certain things over DC. Uh, the Loki series was pretty darn good on an overall basis. WandaVision is still one of my favorites. Hawkeye has been great overall. That has been my favorite series out of the three. As far as the series, it's Hawkeye, WandaVision, and Loki. And yeah, Spider Man has is definitely one of the best movies I've seen in quite some time. But the meme I put up on Facebook was that how Marvel's kind of killing it, where DC is really not killing it lately. They're kind of relying on this Flash movie to come out to maybe do some stuff. But Marvel, hey, good evening, Fernando. How you doing, brother man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. I hope your holidays are shaping up to be a great time for you and the sun, man. Um, yeah, a friend of mine on Facebook got a little mad because he considers himself to be a snob with comic books and stuff, and kind of he was like, "Oh well, with the comments and the views of the people down below, they definitely don't know what they're talking about. They never read the source material, and kind of presumptuous, kind of very snobbish, in my opinion. I've been reading comic books since I was like 7 or 8 years old. Uh, there's no comic book movie out that has laid true to the source material 100%. None. None. Not the Avengers movies, not the Batman movies, not the uh, these other type of movies. Um, None of these movies have stuck true to the source material. Even when you adopt a regular book into a movie, they're not true to the source material 100 percent. I've heard people say maybe the Fellowship of the Ring has come the closest to the source material, but to assume and to think that you alone have all the comic book knowledge is silly. People who have read both the comics and watched the movies know going into it that it's going to be different. Um, Whether people thought that the changes were because of things being problematic or not, um, there's been changes. You know what I mean? Um, Technically, in the MCU, Nick Fury is supposed to be casted as white because the original Nick Fury was white. You know what I mean? But Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, is pretty fucking awesome. You know what I mean? I like Nick Fury being played by Samuel Jackson, and that came through because of the Ultimate Universe. Um, when they kind of tried to reboot stuff, and to me, that was fine. Some changes are fine, some changes are just ridiculous. When you know of the comic book history, that's when it can become frustrating for a lot of fans because we put time into these properties growing up. And yes, I did see the new Spider-Man movie. I'll get into that in a minute, Fernando. I just want to be an old man right here for the time being. Comic book readers who have been in reading comic books since they're young, especially from back in the 80s and 90s, we're going to be a little bit more harsh on these movies because we put all these decades into learning the history, reciting everything that has happened to these characters from Peter Parker to Aurora Monroe to Logan to Clark Kent to Diana Prince. Um, a lot of people would be surprised that Wonder Woman went through a mod phase in her comic books where she was powerless. Um, there was comic books written uh, that Batman um, like a what if scenario. What if Batman thought Superman killed his parents? That's where the famous Batman slapping Robin meme comes from. Um, we get frustrated when they don't concentrate even on their own continuity. So when we see a movie that's like, oh man, they changed it that much, it becomes more frustrating. And when people think that's awesome, we think it's not awesome because they're not sticking to it. You're a newer fan, you haven't put in the time. And that's considered gatekeeping. People don't want uh, others to gatekeep, but they'll gatekeep themselves. I guess it depends on what you look like. Hey, eternally grateful seas, how you doing? I guess it depends on how you look, and when people, and then that's when people depend whether they like you gatekeeping or not. Um, for those snobs out there that put all the time and effort into comic books for decades the way I do, get over it because this is going to be the only way now to bring in younger fans and have them watch the movies, then try to introduce them to the comic books that we all love and say, this is where it came from. Okay. This is the original idea where it came from. Um, but yeah, rant is over. Spider Man, we open up with, um, Tom Holland getting exposed as Peter Parker getting exposed as Spider Man. Him and MJ are swinging through the city. People are starting to believe Mysterio. Jonah Jameson is reporting it, breaking the news about Peter Parker being Spider Man and killing Mysterio. Um, Peter Parker runs home to Aunt May to try to hide out, but that's not happening. Aunt May and poor Happy Hogan are not together anymore. Peter Parker's getting bugged out, so to speak, pun intended, about what to do. He's worried about his girlfriend, his best friend, his aunt, Happy Hogan, his kind of mentor. The Department of Damage Control comes and arrests him and Aunt May and Ned and MJ. And they go through all these questions and, um, you know, Ned is such the weak link. He almost was exposing everything until you realized that he was being tricked into exposing everything. Finally, they all lawyer up, and we see Charlie Cox, aka the guy who plays Daredevil on the Netflix show. Now, this is a big thing because they never acknowledged the Netflix series into the continuity of the MCU. And we also know that Kingpin was just recently introduced from that same show into the Hawkeye series. So um, Matt Murdock is trying to help Peter Parker, and all the charges were dropped. Things were able to be exposed as a lie, but many people are still believing Mysterio and thinking that Peter Parker is a villain in disguise. At one point, when Matt Murdock was talking to Peter Parker in his little circle there, someone threw a brick through the window and he caught it. And being he's blind, everyone was like, "How'd you do that?" And he was like, "I'm just a great lawyer," you know, without realizing that he is also a superhero himself. So I'm gonna like to see how they introduced. Uh, well, I like to see how they continue the introduction of Daredevil into the MCU. Um, Also, at the same time, Peter, Ned, and MJ all trying to get into MIT, Tony Stark's old alma mater college, and they don't make it into any of the schools they apply to because of the hubbub with Peter Parker being Spider Man. He goes to Doctor Strange to try to cast a spell that no one remembers him being Spider Man. And as he's realizing the wording of the spell, he worries about MJ forgetting him, his Aunt May forgetting him, his friend forgetting him, and he screws the spell up, and that's what brings these other characters from past Spider-Man movies into the MCU. We see Alfred Molina's Doctor Octopus, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Sandman, the Lizard, Electro. We have Tobey Maguire. We have Andrew Garfield in this movie, and my God, it was a wonderful experience to see some of these characters back. Um, my unfortunately, my theater was pretty lame and not really clapping or cheering much of anything. I think it was maybe me and kind of like maybe three or four other people kind of cheering and clapping at certain points. And like my son, he loves these movies, but you know, you know, he he's not getting excited. He doesn't understand why I'm so pumped about seeing Tobey Maguire, like holy shit. He didn't have to live through that, he just is experiencing it for the first time. Uh to see Willem Dafoe still not missing a step with the Green Goblin character. He did, from what I hear, the majority of his own stunts, and he's almost 70. Uh, Again, Dr. Octopus, I love seeing that because that's been one of my favorite Spider Man movies. Spider Man 2, where he goes against Dr. Octopus. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. And so what happens is with the screw up of um, the spell, these characters come in and try to go after Peter. They capture most of, if not all, the villains that came into this multiverse into this universe that they know of. Then they try to, instead of sending them back to face their deaths or their fates, so to speak, because like the lizard wasn't dead, he just was put in jail. The goblin in the Andrew Garfield movies didn't die, um, which he wasn't in it anyway. But there's been a couple. The Sandman just took off. He wasn't killed or anything by Spider Man. So it kind of makes you wonder: is there going to be did these timelines branch out now? Because even though they all came together, the three Peters came together to make a cure and sent them back. Do they still get sent back to die? Then why do the cure? Um, these are kind of the questions you think of when you uh, think into it a little further. But still doesn't take away from the movie at all. You know, it's just a wonderful movie. Just a wonderful movie. I'm very happy to have caught it. Yes. What if I do this? All right. So, um, the banter between them was fucking great. The banter between all three Spider-Men were wonderful. The banter between the villains was wonderful. I really like MJ a lot better here. Um, Doctor Strange was just kind of used as a reason for everyone to come in, but he still did a great job. Spider Man technically beat Doctor Strange. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Jackson? Mr. Jackson, what is going on? Glad you were able to make it here, man. Yeah, we're just getting into Spider Man and how great it was, man. You got me the other day. I thought I really spoiled that for you. I was like feeling horrible, man, for you. I hate spoiling things for people unintentionally. And but you got me. You got me good on that one. You got me good. I was like, oh man, I just fucked up the whole Hawkeye series for him. um, but yeah, I think Spider-Man introduced a lot of great things that we can follow up with. It's really bringing Spider-Man back to basics. And it was great to see Spider-Man as an Avenger. It was great to see Spider-Man as a protege to Tony Stark. It was great to see him interact with. I know, I know. Initially, I was like, oh, wait a minute, no. But like after you told me, I was like, I felt a little bit more relieved on that, and then it was good. It was a good joke. You got me. You definitely got me on that one. It was good. But yeah, man, it just sets up for so much more. MJ, everyone loses the memory of Peter. And this is another nitpick plot device that people might be like, well, is he still on file, like as a birth certificate and social security? Or, I mean, did everyone just forget Peter Parker, or did everyone forget that Peter Parker was Spider Man? Um, I just think that because of his lack of interaction in high school and stuff, that there wasn't going to be really much of remembering him anyway. It wasn't like, oh yeah, Peter. And between with the blip and everything, um, but I'm kind of just chalking it up to the people forgot that he was Spider Man. Uh, that they're remembering Spider Man and not Peter Parker. I Again, these are little things that we can bypass because of how great the movie was in a general sense. I give this movie a 9 out of 10. And the only other little plot thing that I'll touch on that I think besides the spell and what happens to the characters when they go back home, that was a little confusing. Um, in the beginning of the movie, um, right, yeah, yeah, I think that's what I was kinda thinking, that they know Spider-Man as Spider-Man, but not Parker was the one that got forgotten. Um, they did a similar thing in the Marvel comic books with this, character called the Sentry, where he, went to Doctor Strange to, make everyone forget who he was and then everyone forgot him. Um, but, yeah, this was, like, really based off of, the story One More Day, where Aunt May dies, in the comic books because everyone knows who he was because he exposed his identity in the Civil War story in the comic books. Mephisto decides to do it instead, and everything goes back, reboots. That's kind of what they're doing here. Um, like I said, they put however they went about it. It's back to basics for Peter Parker, Spider Man, and everyone forgets who Peter is, and that's where I like it. Um, Peter Parker is meant to be shunned away from society and be made fun of and bullied in a way, and can't catch. He's always behind on the rent. He can't reconnect with the women he loves, like Gwen Stacy and MJ. Um, Flash Thompson bullies him and this and that, and J. Jonah Jameson is always yelling at him. Uh, but as Spider Man, majority of people cheer for him and find him amazing and spectacular, and he's the friendly neighborhood one, and this and that. Meanwhile, Peter Parker's the schlub, and if they knew they were both the same, things would change a little bit for Peter. But that's not what he's about. Uh, we all know that with great power comes great responsibility, and that really stuck with him when Uncle Ben died, and he could have prevented that death. That's where Peter Parker became Spider Man. And yes, no Tony, no old school, yeah, no Stark. And hey, listen, it's one thing as the character was built in the comic books that he got these fancy suits and this and that once he started interacting with people. But when Spider Man was first bitten by the spider, he was sewing his own costumes. He was making his own web shooters and everything. He wasn't having Tony Stark come in and build him a nice shiny suit and stuff like that, and nanotech technology and this and that. It was inch or two of fabric separating Peter from knives and guns and what have you, and relying on his spider senses and relying on his agility and quickness to avoid. Uh, like he can still be stabbed, he can still be shot. Peter Parker, unless he was wearing like an armor suit. But if you just caught Peter Parker coming out of the Daily Bugle, his spider sense would go off, but you might be able to catch him with a knife or something. And he can still get caught and stuff like that. He might jump out of the way, but you know, he's strong. He can. That was one of the great things that I found interesting when Doctor Octopus took over his body in the comic books, and he nearly killed someone because he didn't realize how much Peter Parker was holding his punches back, which even makes him more of a hero because you see Tom Holland like wailing on Willem Dafoe's face, and you guys still think that yes, Willem Dafoe had that Green Goblin serum in him, but if Peter Parker can punch through a concrete wall or a steel wall, a human skull isn't gonna. That's like for us punching a piece of bread. You know what I mean? That's how powerful his punches are. That's like us punching. That's like me as a near 300-pound man punching a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? As opposed to me trying to punch like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Mike Tyson. I'm gonna use Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson is still jacked as shit at 50. He can still fucking beat my ass, I know that. And probably beat some, younger, stronger guys too, I'll say that. Um, but Mike Tyson's a perfect example. If Mike Tyson and I got into a street fight, he may hold his punches, maybe hold his punches, but he's still gonna punch me and be like, you gonna stop? 'Cause that hurt, right?" I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay, okay, you got it, Mike." I don't want Mike Tyson punching my brains in, you know? Um, just think about it like that. Think about it as Mike Tyson punching you and holding punches back, because he knows that his hands are lethal weapons, literally, and can kill just about anyone he's wailing on. Just about, you know? Gotta remember he's in his 50s. There's always gonna be someone stronger and quicker. But Mike Tyson back in his prime, I don't know if anyone would have ever been able to really hold that man back like that. Um, anyway, I'm getting off track. Spider-Man. Spider-Man was just a great movie. It's great to really see him back to basics. What I'd really like to see is MJ and Ned not remember for a while. Like, there's supposed to be 3 more Tom Holland movies after this. One, no, Far From Home. And if MJ and Ned remember, I don't want them really remembering into the 5th or 6th movie. I want Peter to be able to fall in love with someone else like the Black Cat or Gwen Stacy. Um, maybe introduce Silk into the movies, where in the comic books, him and the character Silk were bitten by the same spider, and they release such um, pheromones that they can't really like keep their hands off each other. Like they fuck a lot in the comic books, and so you can kind of bring something like that to the next movie where uh, him and some new love interest. He's finally getting past MJ and stuff, not remembering him. I would lean more towards the Black Cat because at least then he can kind of share his identity with her, and she can share her identity with him, and you know, uh, and maybe make it a deep connection like it was for MJ. So when then MJ remembers, it's like, ah, shit, what do I do? Black Cat's been here for a few years now. I was waiting around for MJ to remember. She didn't. And now she remembers. It's going to be the Black Dahlia necklace that makes her remember something. And so maybe have MJ remember in the fifth movie or sixth movie to where he has to choose, maybe, or maybe he doesn't choose. Maybe he just stays with Black Cat, the whole time, and just as like things happen and this and that. We still have the Venom symbiote running around in the MCU now. Um, I've heard people suggest Flash Thompson. Uh, there might be an Eddie Brock uh, variant in the MCU. In the MCU Prime, there might be an Eddie Brock that the symbiote attaches itself to. Another thing I want to mention is the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, mentioned there was no Oscorp, but he never mentioned there was not another Norman Osborn. So there may very well be a Norman Osborn out there somewhere still. Um, you know, so yeah, you can have the MCU's version of Norman Osborn become Venom. You can have Flash Thompson become Venom. The MCU's version of Eddie Brock to become Venom. But they're probably not going to do that for quite some time, obviously. And the hype on this movie is not even begun to die down to even consider, all right, what do we do next? I mean, I'm sure they figure out what to do next, but it's not going to be anything concrete, at least until late 2022, 2023, maybe, where they can kind of have a story and be like, all right, this is where we're going now for the next Spider-Man movie. Um, my hot take for Venom, and I know this is going to be a million to one, not going to happen uh, theory but I'm going to go, um, I'm going to go full Mephisto on this one. Okay, guys. um, right, right. That was another little thing where that Electro didn't know exactly that Peter was Spider-Man. Uh, the reason why he looked different, I'll just contribute to maybe he was able to change the way he looks through the electricity power he has. Lame, but I'd kind of be like, all right, you grew your hair through electricity and kind of became your best version of Max Dillon than what you were prior. You became dorky. You started off dorky, and now you're looking like sexy Jamie Foxx now. And I can live with that. But yeah, that's another plot point where he didn't really know who Peter was, or being Spider Man. Um, Unless he just heard someone referencing Peter Parker as Spider Man, but just didn't know what he looked like. I don't know. I don't know. I did not watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, so I can't really tell you uh, any real concrete theories from that. But that's my theory is that maybe he heard someone call Peter Parker Spider-Man or vice, whatever, connecting that, and he just never knew what he looked like. But yeah, that was another point that they never really touched on. Um, some of these things that once the nostalgia and the fanboy, the nerdgasms that I had all week wear down, you kind of start thinking about certain things. And that was another thing, like how did Max still know he was Spider Man? Unless it was a variant Electro that knew that he was Peter Parker. I kind of contributed to that. It's just a variant of Electro that knew who Spider Man was, and then that was the one that came over. Um, because you never really hear Andrew Garfield question how did you know I was Spider Man or anything like that. You don't really hear that question being asked by any of the Spider Men. I like the scene where they all point at each other like the meme. I was waiting for that. I was very happy over that. um, yeah, this I you know what I would also like to see Spider-Man interact with the Kingpin now and Echo and stuff like that. And before I fully transition over to Kingpin and Echo on the Hawkeye series, spoilers on that too. um, I will give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. And again, the point five is just because I'm being nitpicky with certain things. This is a damn near perfect, fucking excellent Spider-Man movie. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie. I'm not gonna lie. Then Spider-Man 2, with Tobey Maguire. Then the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Um, this has been the best Marvel product that has come out since Endgame, in my opinion. And debate me down on what Marvel product below that has come out since Endgame has been better than this. You know, yes, I'm glad that. All right, so it is the same Kingpin, and Daredevil. Good. All right. Um, I is speaking of Kingpin. My God, Vincent D'Onofrio again is another perfect casting for this role as Kingpin from his time on the Netflix show and now on the Hawkeye show. Um, I like the updated look with the Hawaiian shirt and the cane and everything. I love it. I think it's a great look for him. And Vincent D'Onofrio in real life, I think, is like quite a large man. You know what I mean? Like, not meaning weight wise. I think he's one of those big old country boys. You know what I mean? Whereas he's like 6'5", 6'6", or something like that, 6'7". And if you know anything about Vincent D'Onofrio's acting career, he started. I think his first movie was Mystic Pizza, in which he played a boyfriend of one of the main actresses in the movie, and he was a fisherman in the movie. And then I know he did some. No, that was someone else I'm thinking of. Then he did this a Law and Order movie, not a Law and Order movie, Law and Order show. I think it was called Criminal Intent, and it dealt with like bank robberies and uh those type of crimes, gang-related crimes and stuff, embezzling and stuff like that, and his character was great in that too. Um, he's a very intimidating, presence, and, it was perfect for Kingpin because Kingpin is supposed to be intimidating even when he's just sitting there. He did. Oh my god, I forgot about that fucking and didn't he play the guy, that the little girl thought he was Thor? But he was just some, like, mechanic or something that they came across that they were trying to find help. Yes. Yes. I fucking forgot about Adventures in Babysitting, which is weird that the little girl in that was such a Thor fan. So that's kind of like another connection for him that he can look back on and be like, "Oh, wow, I was almost meant to be, uh, in a comic book movie or show because of, um" 'cause that alone will show you that he was, like, an intimidating guy just by his sheer presence, because for the little girl to think that he was Thor, when you think of the character Thor, you think of a big, like, guy because he's supposed to be a big buff god, you know what I mean? So, you're not thinking of me, fucking 5'8", um, middle-aged guy when you're thinking of Thor, you're thinking of a big, uh, buff, surfer-looking dude but, like, really big and stuff, tall. Yes, Metal Jacket. Godfather. That I am unfamiliar with, so I'll check that out after the stream and look that up on where I can see that and stuff, The Godfather of Harlem. That sounds interesting, actually. But I forgot, yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Um, yeah. I remember that. He, again, was another character in there that was like, you don't want to fuck with this guy. Like, he's a teddy bear, but also really ready to use his size to his advantage, so to speak. And I think that has helped him with certain parts in his career, and I'm just disappointed that these movies really hadn't done much with him because I think he could have done pretty decent as an action star with his presence, his on-screen presence, because would feel like if Vincent D'Onofrio came into my house, right, just to dress up as the Kingpin character, even though I know it's Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Kingpin logically in my brain, if he got into character and was kind of talking to me like he was Wilson Fisk, I might piss my pants a little bit. Like, all right, Kingpin, let's figure this out, please. Because even in the episode 6 of Hawkeye, when uh, he was talking to Eleanor, you could tell, like, he doesn't give a shit that you a female. He doesn't give a shit that you talking about your kids. He don't care about that you got your sick grandmother sitting right there. That twitching he starts to do when he knows where you're going, but he's trying to save you from going there is kind of like even more scary because like when Eleanor started kind of talking to him, he knew where this was going, like, and he even said, "Listen, in the spirit of Christmas, I'm going to forgive this conversation. So you know, let's forget about it." And she keeps like, "No, no, 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 no." He, what's coming for her. And then even when he was talking to Maya, aka Echo, uh, Wakazi, he knew once she kind of was like, "Oh, I'm okay now," whatever. He knew uh, that she was gone with the wind. That she was going to turn on him too. He knew that somehow, some way, she found out what happened, and But that doesn't mean she's still not mad at Ronan for killing her father, actually, but she realizes where to put the blame. If Kingpin and Cassie never ratted him out to Ronan on where to get him, then the father may still be alive today. So she's taking that part of her story originally, which in the comics was Daredevil, but replaced it with Hawkeye. And so I'd really like to see her interaction with Hawkeye in the future. And I'd like to see her interact with Daredevil and Spider Man in the future. I really thought that the character Echo was story was a little rushed near the end between her and Cassie. Uh, that's my only complaint about the series is that Cassie's storyline was a little rushed near the end as to explain what his motivation was on why he did what he did. They didn't really show that he had like romantic feelings for her, and they never really showed that he had a quest or a quench for power. And now all of a sudden we're expected that he did this for power and mad at her for taking the power from him. That was never really established. So it was kind of felt like a little rushed near the end. So I would say that's probably my only complaint as far as that's concerned. Um, a friend of mine had a interesting theory on Kazi that he was going to become Bullseye, but that doesn't seem to be a viable option anymore. Being that Maya like completely took him out. I loved the scene between Yelena and Kate Bishop. I thought their scenes were full of chemistry and jokes, and you have to realize when Yelena was blipped for the 5 years, she didn't age all that time. So when she came back, Kate was more her age, and so I think that's why they're able to have such a nice dichotomy together because Yelena is such a weapon, and so is Kate. But Kate wasn't trained with fear and hatred the way that Yelena was, and I really like the interactions between them. I like how Yelena and Hawkeye uh, interacted near the end. That Yelena was just kicking his ass, and he kept just trying to be like, you know how your sister is, and this and that. I couldn't stop her, and then he finally did the secret whistle that they did. That the two sisters only knew about the secret whistle, and then when he did the secret whistle, she was like, "Why would she teach you that?" And then it's like kind of like, "Well, dummy, you know your sister. Why would she teach me a secret whistle that only you and her knew if I wasn't like considered like a brother to her or something like that?" Because never in any of the MCU shows or movies did they show the Black Widow, Natasha, and Clint Barton as a romantic couple, a sexual couple. It was really like best friends and like close like brother and sister. So why would um she wouldn't Natasha just wouldn't give the secret whistle away to some fucking bozo that she just wants to get laid with in a bar or whatever. We all have needs, you know what I mean? you know, and Black Widow's not gonna um sit there and just be like, Bob, from the bar I just met you at, me and my sister had a secret whistle and everything, and like, no, she's not doing that. So that kind of brought Yelena back down a little bit, and he basically admitted, like, listen, she kicked my ass, okay? I was trying and trying and trying, and she kept kicking my fucking ass. You're kicking my a like, he wasn't really fighting back, so I'm not gonna say, that Yelena can kick his ass 100%, but, because Clint was definitely holding back. He wasn't trying to, like, fight her. He was just letting her, like, beat him or whatever. And, but he was like, "Do you really think that, uh, your sister wouldn't want you to" like, and finally he convinced her, like, it was Natasha that did this, and he couldn't do anything about it, and Yelena just basically walked away. And I'm wondering what her interaction with Val is going to be down the road. I'm assuming she's still going to have a role in the Thunderbolts and stuff like that. We haven't seen the last of Yelena at all. And I don't think we've seen the last of Kingpin, despite what we've seen or not seen near the end of that. We hear a gunshot, but we don't see what happens. In the books, Wilson becomes blinded by that gunshot wound. In the MCU, we shall see what happens when Echo comes back as a TV show, or if they reference Kingpins between now and then in any other projects. I think the next Marvel project on Disney Plus is Moon Knight. So I don't know. They're gonna have to build him up for a few episodes in order to start connecting him to anything. Um, we discover in Hawkeye that the wife is basically Mockingbird. She's Agent 19, and uh, that's who the Rolex belonged to. Was the wife back in Missouri with the kids, and on the back it said Agent 19, and in the comic books, Mockingbird was Agent 19. Uh, which basically makes the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show an ultimate reality at this point, officially, in my opinion, because they had a Bobby Morris Mockingbird on that show, and then be too confusing to try to clear that up, especially when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't really been probably followed by too many people. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for most of the seasons. I just haven't watched this last season where we see that Fitzsimmons and stuff have a kid and what have you. Um, but yeah, so she's basically revealed to be Mockingbird. The only other thing that I don't get is why did Kingpin want that Rolex? Uh, they made such a big deal about him wanting it, but they never explained why he wanted it. So that's another thing that can be explored in the future through the Echo series or other projects. I really like uh, all the characters grew. All the characters grew. There was Echo lost her life and her belief that she had. She lost that. Kate lost her mother. Um, Clint lost time with his family. Uh, they each of them almost died on separate times. Like Kate got her ass kicked by Kingpin, and it wasn't until she did that little trick with his cuffling that she was able to get away from there. But Kingpin kicked her ass, man. Like she's not a Mary Sue at all. She got her ass kicked. She was getting flung around like a rag doll. Those trick arrows got broken like twigs. You know what I mean? She almost died a few times. So to try to say she was a Mary Sue or like how Rey was in Star Wars is an unfair comparison for the character of Kate Bishop. I really like how Haley Steinfeld did an excellent job on the acting. Anything she's been involved in since True Grit has been pretty good on her end, at least. With whatever material she's given, she um, puts all of her energy into it. The only movie I didn't have too much fun as far of hers, I guess, would be Bumblebee. But even then, still compared to what she had to work with, she did okay. You know what I mean? Just Bumblebee brought up too many questions in the universe of Transformers. So that's my quick opinion on that. But anything that she's ever been given to be, uh, bring onto the screen has been good. She portrays it well. And, so I really. No, I did not see the new Matrix movie yet. We're gonna try to watch it this weekend. I thought maybe we're gonna be able to have a chance of catching it earlier, but the little guy just wanted to keep playing his new game that he got called Deep Woken. He loves his computer games. But we're probably gonna do Matrix this weekend. Maybe Saturday, for Christmas Day. I heard the CGI on it and everything. Oh, so we're all gonna watch it tonight, Miss Eternally Grateful Seas. When you that we're gonna hold off on that, but we watch it tonight if you want. There, Mrs. C's. I heard the CGI is good. I heard Keanu Reeves is good as always. I've heard some things about the movie that make me uh be like, all right, well, if that's what they're gonna do, that's what they're gonna do in the movie. Um, I like Keanu Reeves, man. I'm just a big fan of his, and anything that he's in, I'll watch. You know, he's just like a really everyday man. He seems like, and he just seems like a really nice, gentle, and generous soul. So I think he did this movie to try to make the fans happy. I'm hearing some mixed reviews on it, but I usually reserve thoughts on it until I actually see it or hear enough of it to be like, oh, all right, that's what they're doing. Um, yeah, usually I'll try to do my own research and see how it is, but Keanu Reeves will get my price of admission any day. Uh, he has such a great look to him too. He looks like he's such a fun guy to be around too, where he seems like he's the type of guy that will be like, "No, man, you're awesome too, man. Like, I'm just a regular guy," and you'd almost like you believe it. You know what I mean? If he was trying to convince, like, I'm just a guy, man. You're the awesome one. Like, I could see him really doing that with like a regular person. Like, he even got caught one time on the New York City transit system, and it didn't look like he realized he was being filmed or just didn't care that he was being filmed. Because I guess he's just acknowledges that there's going to be people that want to take pictures of him and what have you. Uh, I've never seen him get crazy with paparazzi or fans like that. But there's this video that was captured of him on a train, New York City train, and he got up for someone that was they looked like they needed the seat, and he got up from his seat, and he was like, "Here, take my seat," or whatever, and he got up, and that's just really the type of guy he strikes me as. But yeah, Matrix, we're either gonna watch part of it later, according to the missus here, or whenever. We might watch part of it later and then finish the rest of it tomorrow, whatever. But WWE Day One, yes, I think I am gonna watch that. Uh, I know they have some matches set up. I know they have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Then I think they have like a four-way match for The what is it? The WWE title is on Raw, and the Universal title's on SmackDown, right? Where I think the WWE title. Shit, who has the WWE title? It's not. Fuck. How did I forget it was Big E? Oh my god. I'm sorry, Big E. I think it's going to be a four-way for his title between him, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. I think they're doing that. So that's two matches. I think they're doing Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch on that night too. And I think they're doing Usos versus the New Day, which is never a bad match, but how many times can you really see that match too? Uh, they need to start building up the Viking Raiders. And I want Liv Morgan. And this is gonna break my heart to say about my girl Becky Lynch because she currently is my favorite female wrestler. And even though I'm about to say, she will still continue to be my favorite female wrestler. Her and Charlotte Flair. Um, but Bailey, I have a lot of favorites. All right, Bailey too, Sasha. Um, I was a big Ruby Riott fan. Still am. But I think Liv Morgan should win the title on day one from Becky Lynch. I think that they should pull that trigger on that. Um, I like to see Rhea Ripley go to SmackDown and get away from this whole Nikki Cross stuff because I think that was just a waste of both of their time. Both great talents, Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley, if you see the size of this lady, she should be fucking dominant over any women's division that she's in. And they're kind of, it just she should be champion at this point. Uh, I think AJ Styles might go to NXT. That would be a good little move for him, just for the fact of the things that he's going to be able to teach those wrestlers and get away from the tag team scene for a little bit. I'm getting a little tired of RK Bro too. Not quite tired of him, but I think they should make Riddle heel and Orton face for that. And after they feud, maybe have them feud to WrestleMania, and then let one of them go for the main title, and the other one go for the Intercontinental or US title. Uh, I just think they waste a lot of their talents on stupid feuds, stupid stories, and yeah, it's. I wish I had some say in the WWE. It would be a little bit different, at least, than what we get on a normal basis. But you know, maybe one day I'll have enough money to buy it from Vince. Everyone's got a price. Um, yeah, I think that's gonna. I think that let's see. I think Liv is gonna win the title. Out of the New Day and Usos, I hope the Usos win. Um, Roman Reigns and Lashley, he might win this. To be honest with you, between the four of them that are in it, I wouldn't mind any of them, really, to be honest with you. Um, because Bobby Lashley is a fucking monster. The size of him. Big E is a fucking monster with the size of him. Kevin Owens is a fucking brute, you know. Seth Rollins is a fucking clever, uh, strategist and clever, and I wouldn't mind any of them, to be honest, to be WWE title. I think they all deserve it. I think Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens has really been doing great work, character work. Um, Big E, I'm so happy that he's won a major WWE title, heavyweight title. Uh, I'm happy that he won it. But I'm glad Bobby Lashley had won it recently. Um, I'm a big fan of all four of these guys. I'm not going to be too mad on who wins it. But if you had to put a gun to my head and pick one person that is my favorite out of that four-man match, to be honest with you, I would love to see Kevin Owens walk away with the WWE title. To be honest with you, um, yeah, I think Kevin Owens should walk away with that title. Uh, yeah, I'd really like to see Rhea Ripley go to SmackDown and gain the SmackDown Women's title and really roughshod over the thing, over the division. I still want the Usos to hold on to the tag titles. They're doing great work currently. Roman Reigns is doing fucking phenomenal work, character work, promos, everything. He's been great. Brock Lesnar's been great. I love this new Brock Lesnar character, the everyday man type of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar never disappoints me. From when he first came out with Paul Heyman and all the way up to the Boombox Block Party Brock with the Money in the Bank. I thought that was funny as hell. Um, yeah, yeah, the Adam Pearce and Brock Lesnar thing. Brock Lesnar gets so underrated because um, he's such a physique to look at, you know, uh, and he's charismatic in that way, but he's not like he's never really been known to be the microphone guy. But lately, he's really been on point the last couple of years with with the promos, with the responses. Um, I loved a couple of years ago when our Truth was in the ring with him when he was the champion. Then he made Brock Lesnar break character, and that was great to see Brock Lesnar kind of laugh at our Truth because our Truth is such a silly ass that you can't help but to laugh at our Truth. Our Truth is funny as hell. Um, I'm not really sure what other matches they have on day one because I haven't really been following too much the last few weeks. Is Charlotte still champion? And is she facing anybody? I'm not sure. I know RK Bro was supposed to face a team from the tournament, but I don't know if that was ever decided yet. And yeah, it's the New Day versus the Usos. I don't know if there's a U.S. title match or a IC title match, but I think that they're going to be able. They got some interesting matches together anyway, so you know, Moose Hunt. Yeah, Moose. Fucking imagine Brock Lesnar out there fucking hunting moose. He may not even need a fucking rifle. He may just fucking bare knuckle fight a moose. You know what I mean? He just looks like he can fucking fight a moose head on. With the fucking size of him, that man must eat a fucking dozen eggs and a pound of bacon and a half a loaf of toast just in the mornings, just to wake up and start the fucking day in a whole gallon of OJ. And I feel like that's like how Brock Lesnar eats. You know, he eats a pound of bacon, a dozen eggs, fucking half a loaf of bread and toast, whole gallon of fucking OJ, and that's just his morning breakfast. And he goes out for the jog and bare knuckle fights a moose, and comes back with dinner, and goes fishing with his bare hands and brings home a dozen fish to eat. You know, like Jesus Christ, he's such a big fucking guy. And poor Sable, she's such a petite woman compared next to him. Oh my god, that must feel like a fucking bear on top of her sometimes. I don't know. Um, I know he's got a couple of kids. I wonder if they're ever gonna get as big as him. Uh, like not meaning in fame or fortune, just physique wise. I wonder if they'll ever get as big as Brock, because Brock is one of those fucking, again, country big boys that can probably plow a whole field by himself. And um yeah, yeah, Brock Lesnar has always been one of my favorites, like, because I feel like again, he's another one that can be, even coming to you and be willing to take a picture with you, he would seem like intimidating. Like you really have to hope to catch him on the right side of the bed. If you see him out in public, you'd have to hope, like, you kind of have to hope to catch his attention from a distance to be like, "Can I take a picture with you, please, Mr. Lesnar?" um, I hear he's okay with fans, but then I hear he can get grouchy with fans. But I can understand that in a way. If you look at it from just a person perspective, uh, I always talk to the missus about, like, if we were famous or if I was famous, and we were out to dinner at a public restaurant, famous enough to where people and paparazzi acknowledge, like, oh shit, Bart's here. Um, the only times I would not really want to be bothered with that is, say, if I was out to eat with my kid and my wife. I wouldn't really want to be bothered for pictures or autographs. What I would say probably is, if you guys let me finish my meal and finish up with my wife and with my family here, uh, I'll send them to go get the car, and I'll take a few minutes to take pictures and sign some stuff. But I'm not staying here all night either, signing stuff and taking pictures. Uh, for the few minutes that my wife is getting in the car, the few lucky of you who are able to get a picture, get it in now because I'm leaving in like a few minutes. But like, leave me alone with my kid, leave me alone with my family. Um, if it seems like I'm in kind of like a private family setting, if I'm at a Six Flags or something, I guess maybe I would be a little bit more prone to understanding, like, I might have to stop a lot more for pictures and stuff, as opposed to, say, if I'm at a dinner, where I can maybe control that situation a little bit more. Like, I wouldn't be able to have Six Flags shut down or Disney World shut down or this place shut down or whatever. If I was out in that amount of a public space, I might stop a little bit more, understanding that I'm putting myself out there like that. But I can get it. I can get it. Some days I'd probably be like, "Fuck, man, can we be left alone? I'm just trying to get a fucking cup of coffee, my guy. You know, bringing my kids to go get a fucking donut. Can you leave us alone?" That I think that would be like my only one of my big deals is, like, especially if I'm with my kid. If you see me with my kid and was famous on that level, leave me alone. I'm with my kid. You're not gonna be allowed to take time away from me with my child. And I think that would be one of the major, like, borders that I would have. Like, my kid is here. I can't stop you from taking pictures, but y- don't crowd us. you know, that's kind of how I'd feel. So I can kind of understand where these famous people come from and stuff, and they people say, "Oh, well, you sign up for this and that," and in a way, it's true. You know, you put yourself out there in a public job, you put yourself out there in a public situation. I mean, oh my god, it's too funny. It's too funny. See, Brock's a funny guy. Brock's a funny guy. Brock might eventually win that title. You never know. We'll see soon enough. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. For the first stream back, I'm glad that I was able to go this long with you guys and have a lot of great visitors come by and watch and hang out and comment and share and everything. Um, oh, before I wrap it up though, because I did mention in the beginning of the stream, that I just remembered. Um, my favorite Christmas movie. Okay, I have two of them, and it's not anything unique or anything like that. My first favorite movie for Christmas is It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey wishing he was never born, seeing how the world would turn out without him, and realizing the world is better with him as opposed to without him. Great story. Watch it every year. I own it on DVD. Um, Second favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story, where Ralphie tries to convince his parents to get the Red Ryder 200 shot carbine, pump handle, BB gun. I know I messed that up somehow. Maybe. Um, all movie, he tries to convince his parents. He tries to convince the teacher. He tries to convince Santa. And everyone says, you're going to shoot your eye out. And sure than shit, if it wasn't for his glasses, he would have shot his goddamn eye out. But he doesn't get caught almost shooting his eye out. Okay. Um, Thankfully, he just said the icicle fell on his face or he slipped or whatever, and was able to keep his BB gun. I did a retro blast on that I sent to Tim, and hopefully I'll send that to you guys, upload it to you guys down the road. But those are my two favorite Christmas movies of all time. It's a Wonderful Life and A Christmas Story. And um one of my I have uh two favorite Christmas gifts as a child that I can remember. One of them was the full on Voltron set when I was a kid. That was my favorite Christmas gift of all time because I knew how uh, hard it was to get that. I had some sort of concept to know that that was going to be my major gift for the year, outside of like socks and underwears and the underoos and all that shit. And the second one was when I was about 12. I was really big into bowling. Um, like I was part of a bowling league. Uh, I um, was like bowling 200s, 250s at 12 years old. And the league I was in, I won the Triple Crown. I won the Triple Crown in bowling is the highest scoring game of the league, the highest average, and the highest set because we would do 2 rounds every week. So my average at the time when I was 12 was like a 235 or 238 around there. and my highest game was a 262, and the highest set I had, shit, was like, what was that, like a 560 or something like that? No, no. I think the highest set I had was like a 520, something along those lines, a 520. I think I bowled a 260 or something like that. It was, yeah, it was like something around 520, 500. Was the high series of the year. And yeah, that bowling ball was pretty fucking dope. And I wish I never gave up bowling because that shit was real. I was really good at bowling. I was really good at baseball, and uh, had to give up both those things for the bowling. I just kind of gave up on because I was becoming a little bit more mischievous around that time in my life, cutting school and tagging and stealing cigarettes out of my mother's purse and such. So um, I was doing dumb stuff at that time and gave up on something that I could have had benefited me down the road. Same thing with baseball, but that was kind of more responsibility type of things I had to do. So yeah. So Voltron and the bowling ball were my two favorite gifts, and my third favorite Christmas gift was the Killing Joke comic book that came out when I was about 12. I was able to get that copy of that comic book, even though my mother was very concerned about it being called The Killing Joke. So there you have it. My favorite Christmas movies and my favorite Christmas gifts. I want you to tell me what your favorite Christmas gifts have been down below and what your favorite Christmas movie is down below. I want you to tell me what your favorite part of Spider Man No Way Home is down below. I want you to tell me your favorite part of Hawkeye down below. And we'll be back next week, um, Thursday, for next week's stream, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll put some reminders up on Facebook. Check out our merch store down below in the links, in the link down below in the description box. If you hit the link to our bonfire account, you'll see our Spider-Man inspired shirt. My editor and I's Facebook page links are down below too. If you have any editing needs, hit up my guy Smokey Bishop. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on the gram. Do it for the gram. Links down below in the description, guys. And I want to thank everyone for stopping by, contributing tonight with comments, thoughts. It means the world to us here at Tully Television. It's not my channel, it's our channel. And I want us to go straight to the moon, baby! Straight to the moon, baby! That's where I want us to go. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And until next time, peace, knuckums.